Okay. The golfers are not here, so we will record this for the golfers. All right, so we're going to take a look at the Greco-Persian War. Now, who can tell me, without getting into it yet, why did we have a Greco-Persian War? What do you think?
They disagreed on things.
Like what? I disagree with you people on things, and that doesn't bring about war and bloodshed.
Because you're our teacher, we can't shoot you.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, all right. I don't know where to go with that one. I don't know how to be cheeky about it. So, okay, yes. Let's go back, though, to what you've been reading. All right, from your reading, why do we have a Greco-Persian War in the first place? Why would the Greeks take on the largest empire in the world at the time? Most powerful empire in the world. What?
Land.
Land? Oh, why would the Greeks be interested in Persian land?
So they can farm.
Farm, okay. So you think that the Greeks are going to get across the Aegean, go all the way over to, say, Turkey. And on the Anatolian Peninsula, they're going to start spreading all across the Persian Empire. Is that their goal?
Yeah.
To spread Greek democracy?
Yes.
No! It's not. What kind of war is this? That's backwards. Good, thank you, Connor. This is a defensive war, isn't it? Why, Connor? All right, what's the problem that the Persians have with the Greeks? They don't necessarily want the land. What's the problem? How about this? What started the Trojan War? Centuries earlier, 4 centuries earlier. Or more than that. 8 centuries earlier. Helen's back at it. No, pride. Pride, right? There's this issue of pride, desire for conquest. We see that from the king over in Persia. He is proud. The Greeks are also proud. And the Greeks don't like the Persians, and the Persians don't like the fact that they're not getting what they want from the Greeks. So it's going to lead to a conflict. We've got 2 very proud sides. And so remember that idea of hubris? What is hubris?
Oh, it's
excessive pride. So this is one of those occasions where the Greek pride is a good thing, but the hubris of the Persians is going to be their downfall. They don't think that they can be beaten by the Greeks. They're going to try it twice. Not going to go well either time. All right, so as we take a look at how this thing is all starting, we got to start with the Persian Empire. So the Persian Empire is massive. Look at that thing. It's freaking huge. All right, that's basically the known world at this point, except, we're ignoring the Etruscans and Romans and whatnot. But still, that's a lot of land. And so the Persians have got a massive empire. And anyone remember who is the guy that's going to get this thing solidified? Who was the guy that built the Hanging Gardens? Who was the guy that...
Nebuchadnezzar.
Nebuchadnezzar, there you go. So Nebuchadnezzar was expanding this empire back in the 6th century BC, if my dates are correct. And so he's beautifying the empire, making it look pretty cool. And he's also going to enslave the Jewish people and bring them over in their little Babylonian exile. So he's trying to establish a massive foothold across the known world. All right, so at this point, the Persian Empire is just not something to be messed with. All right, now by the time we get here into the 5th century BC, they've got a system in which there are what are called satrapies. What are satrapies? What is a satrap? I am the king. I'm King Darius or Nebuchadnezzar. I say to my satrap, Amy, for instance, who is the governor of, say, the Indus Valley region. You're way out there.
Oh, is it like a separate part of your empire that's governed by a certain
Yes,
person?
it's like a little mini kingdom. I'm still the king, and I tell you what to do. You're like my governor, right? You're like my governor of my colony, so to speak, of that realm within my empire. I tell you what to do, and you listen. You do it. Now, the way that this worked is that satrapies, they were different geographic areas that had a lot of different ethnicities to them that were not associated with the Assyrians or the Persians here, rather. All right, and so what they would do is they would allow them to have their own type of culture, but they would have to exert the Persian influence over them. So it would be a Persian government with that own culture. So let's say if Persia had been successful and taken over Greece, then Greece would still be Greek, right? But would they be allowed to have an Athenian democracy necessarily? No, there'd be a satrap, who is looking over Greece at that point. All right, so in Egypt, sitting in Memphis, would have been a satrap for the king in Persia. Yes?
Kind of like what Romans did.
Precisely, yes. So we have a Roman governor. All right, they're learning a lot of this empire building from first the Neo-Assyrians and then the Persians, right? Yeah? Okay, very good. Good example. All right, and then they also practice a little thing called Zoroastrianism. That's a big one. Try and say that 5 minutes. Right? So Zoroastrianism is their belief that Marduk is the god, but who is his voice on earth? The king. So the king is not quite divine, but pretty darn close, okay? So he's the agent of God. He's the voice of God on earth. Now that's kind of interesting because let's say that we practice Zoroastrianism here at Billings Central and I was your king. I'm just going to give myself some points. I'm your king, right? So as the voice of God, I'd be sitting in my throne behind my desk, and as you approached me on my throne, you would have to avert your eyes. You could not make eye contact with me. And often you would hold your hand in front of your eyes to make sure you didn't make eye contact with me. Another one, too, is that you all have foul breath with halitosis. So you could not befoul the air around me. So you'd also cover your mouth. So you'd be talking like this to me. Okay, that's awkward, isn't it? And so, what's the point, though? How does that make Darius feel? Oh, pretty cool. Yeah, they can't even breathe on me. They can't breathe the air that I breathe because I'm better. All right, so you think that the Greeks, this culture that we've heard about that emphasizes, that the common man can have a voice, that the common man can talk to an aristo and essentially tell him to shove it. All right, that is something that happens in Greece. Are they going to want a guy like Darius telling them what to do? No. No, they do not. All right, so things are going to get interesting because Darius, interesting character here, who insists that he is the divine agent of God. He's going to start going around requesting earth and water. All right, so his big policy is that he would go to different areas of the realm and he would say, "Look, you owe me earth and water." Now, what are those symbols of? What does that mean? When he goes and sends his emissaries to an area like, say, Sardis over here in Turkey, modern-day Turkey, when he sends emissaries to them and says, "I want earth and water," what does that mean?
Give me land and ports.
Okay, so I'm going to give you a handful of dirt as a symbol of this is your land now. We live here, but this is your land. And then the water is, yes, the ports. The water is the lifeblood of our area. We are giving you these things as a symbol of our devotion to you, our new king. We still live here, we still have our culture, but you are our king. All right, so it's a pride thing. He wants this for himself, and then, he's going to try and run it as an empire. All right, now the Athenians, they were talking to the Persians at this point, because the Athenians, they had what going for them that allowed them to have a trade network across the Aegean and the Mediterranean.
Really good
They
name.
had a developing navy that was getting much better as time was going on. And so the Athenians, they had some delegates that went and talked to Darius, and Darius was essentially saying, "Yo, I want some earth and water." And the Athenian delegate was like, "Okay, I'm going to go talk to them about it, but I'm sure they'll say yes." He goes back, and what do they say?
No.
Hell's no! All right, no, thank you, Darius. But they didn't tell Darius that. All right, not right away anyway. And so instead, what's going to happen is the Ionians, they're going to have a little revolt. The Ionians are hanging out over here, okay, right off the coast there. And so the Ionians, they're having a little revolt against Darius, and who's going to hook a brother up? The Athenians will. The Athenians are going to hook up the Ionians and help them out, even though Darius was like, "Well, wait a second. That emissary, that ambassador, that delegate from Athens said they were going to give me earth and water," but they never sent the message saying, "Oh, it's going to know." All right, and so therefore, the Darius is pretty upset. He's so upset, in fact, that every night when he ate dinner, from that point forward, after the Ionian revolt, every night when he ate dinner, he insisted that one of his servants remind him, I think it was 3 times per meal, "Remember the Athenians. Remember the Athenians. Remember the Athenians." And then it's kind of funny. He's like mid-conversation. He's taking a little drink of wine. "Hey, remember the Athenians." Puts his goblet down. Keeps eating. "Oh, yeah, I'm back to normal." "Hey, remember the Athenians." "Oh, the sun's... Ooh, I'm going to do something about that." "But okay, it's dessert time. I'm feeling better." "Hey, remember the Athenians." "Oh, come on! Give me an army! Give me an army!" Oh, that's a way to get pissed off, isn't it? Just keep reminding you how angry you are. That's fun. And so he's going to get himself an army, and he's going to find a way to invade. All right, so we're going to see, leading up to the Battle of Marathon, interesting things happening here. So first of all, the tactics that we're using here. The Persians, as you can see from the map here, how do they plan to get over there? How do they plan to get their men there?
Land route.
All right, so they're going to use some land routes, and they're also going to use their ships. So the goal was to take some of their ships and have them meet right here outside of Athens at the location of what we call Marathon. And then we're going to have a land force that's going to move in on Greece as well. So at the Battle of Marathon, the Persian forces are pretty big. Not as big as the next invasion is going to be. But just at Marathon itself, their infantry was 25,000 guys, approximately, if we believe the ancient sources anyway. It might have been less than that. But these 25,000 infantrymen were just getting off of their ships, preparing for this amphibious invasion. They had not even yet set up their camp. All right, the Athenians know that they're going to be landing there. And so the Athenians, do they have those member numbers? No, they don't. Plus, they also don't have a group called the Immortals. All right, the Immortals were an actual legit group. Anyone who's seen 300 knows that the Immortals, they're pretty scary looking. They weren't actually that scary looking. Sorry to ruin the movie for you, but the Immortals were pretty cool. All right, anyone just tell from this this picture, what is that? What makes them cool? What do you think?
They have a bow and
Yeah, they are armed to the teeth. They got the bow, which they're good at. They've got the spear that they're good at. They've got the short sword and an axe, like a little tomahawk to put right in your forehead. Ouch! And they've got body armor and a sweet shield. These guys are the elite warriors of the ancient world, and they are highly feared. Highly feared. And so the Athenians know this is coming. Ah, yeah, there's the little picture of what they look like in the movie. Huh? Yeah. All right, a little scarier maybe. All right, so the Athenians, what are they? Are they immortal, godlike warriors? What's this guy doing? He's a hoplite. What is he? He's an everyday schmuck who knows that if he doesn't fight to defend Athens, does not fight at Marathon, what will happen to the poor little baby, his dog, and his wife? In the picture there, what's going to happen? They will be massacred! Oh, no! And Athens will have to offer up its earth and water. So the Athenian forces know they got to get some people ready. They were able to muster 10,000 hoplites. Oh, all right, so tell me about the ratio there. What's the ratio then? Approximately 1 to 2. All right, so 1 Athenian for every 2 Persian immortals. Oh, not going to go well, and we know it, so we got to develop a really sick strategy if we're going to win here. All right, so but still, out of the people of Athens, 1 out of every 3 put on armor, grabbed their shield, and went and fought. That's devotion. 1 out of every 3 people in Athens went to fight here at Marathon.
Wait,
All right?
Is it 1 in 3 people or 1 in 3 men?
That's a good question. I'm guessing men. They left some behind to defend the city. All right, so because typically when they give us these numbers in the ancient world, they don't include women or children or dogs. All right, so and we also got some friends from Plataea. We got 1,000 hoplites from Plataea as well. But still, do you see any Spartans in the list? Who do we desperately want to help us?
Spartans.
We don't like the Spartans, but we like them when it's wartime, don't we? When we want to defend Greece, we need the Spartans. And so what they'll do is they'll send a professional runner by the name of Phidippides to run all the way to Sparta. He'll do it, I can't remember the exact, I think I wrote it down. Let me see if I have it. No I don't. Oh, yes I do. There you go. He ran 150 miles in 2 days. Huh? Can any of you do that? Hey, cross-country people, what's the longest you can run in 1 day?
Maybe 5.
And I would call you highly superior to my running ability. I doubt that I can even do that. All right, so 150 miles in 2 days, and he's wearing freaking Birkenstock sandals. All right, but that aren't nearly as comfortable, because he wasn't as manly as the Spartans, as you recall from yesterday. So he's going to run all the way to Sparta and say, "Yo, look, they're invading. We need your help." What will the Spartans say? Sorry, there's a bad moon. We're interpreting the signs from the stars. The moon's telling us no. All right, so those jerks, seriously, they're the alert fighting force, and they're going to turn us down. So what do we have to do, Athenians? What would you do? For your wives, your children.
Fight.
Women, what would you tell your menfolk?
Go fight.
Get out there, you pansy, and defend us! Oh my goodness! And so here's how it's going to look. Here we've got the Persian fleet that's landing, and you'll notice we've got some water going right here, right? So that's going to make it awkward for battle, though. Why do we not want to be like hanging out right next to a river? Why? Why do you not want your back to the ocean and the river?
Navy.
What is it?
Can't escape.
Can't escape. We'll talk to the military man there. There you go. You cannot escape if that's the case, unless you get back on your boats and go home, right? So, can't escape. And so then there's also a marsh back here behind the Persian camp, and the Athenians are going to be on top of the hill, which means what? All right, they have an advantage. Now, we could use that advantage as a defensive advantage, waiting for the Persians to come at us, but you saw the Immortals. What do they have that we don't want to wait for? Oh, so what do we got to do? What are we going to do? We've got to have an attack early in the morning, where we're going to attack them and destroy them with stealth and speed. All right, let's take a little clip from the movie 300, Rise of an Empire. Wasn't that what it was called? Yeah? All right, very good. I'm pretty sure it was. Alright, here you go.
Marathon. The Persian king Darius, annoyed by the notion of Greek freedom, has come to Greece to bring us to heel. He makes landfall in the field of Marathon with an invading force which outnumbers the Greek defenders 3-1. And so at dawn, the hopeless Athenians do the unthinkable. They attack. They attack the weary Persians as they disembark their ships on shaky legs after a month at sea. They attack before they can establish their war camp and supply their soldiers. And who is the architect of this mad strategy? A little-known Athenian soldier. His men call him Themistocles. He gives the Persians a taste of Athenian shock combat.
So, taking him off guard, although, I don't know that it was really raining and, perfect lightning just at the time when a massive battle was going on between one guy and the other. I think there's a little bit of Hollywood for you there, but still, cool. Very cool. Because these marathon men, they will be the heroes of all of Greece, but especially of Athens. All right, now a little quick correction for you here on what exactly was going on with the leadership, right? The movie claims it's Themistocles. No, it was not. You'll want to make that correction in your notes. All right, so Themistocles was at the Battle of Marathon. The movie is based on Themistocles, although that is false. The guy that planned the attack at Marathon was a general or an archon in Athens named Miltiades. All right, so Miltiades is going to be the man, myth, and legend that plans this lovely attack. The first stage is we've got the Persians that are up against a wall, essentially, a wall of sea and river and marsh. And so the first stage of the attack is we're going to deploy with our flanks spread out. They've got a massive flank in the center, so what should we do? What do you think? You see that? Let's take a look at the strategy here. What do you think? We've got a massive group here in the center, small flanks out to the sides. What do? Yes! All right, so we're going to try and suck them in. All right, so what we're going to do is run at them and hit them, but then once we get into the middle of the fight, these Athenians in the middle are going to have to start to backtrack a little bit. All right, we don't see any retreat happening in the movie there either, but they're going to retreat a little bit, which sucks the Persians in. Why is that a good thing? Because then the flanks come around them. Yes, that's called an enveloping maneuver. Enveloping. And so they're going to envelop them on the sides, like so. Bazinga! Third stage, take them out, drive them back into the sea. Oh, beautiful. Oh, isn't that good stuff? All right, so after that, we're going to get a cool story from that too, because Phidippides was also at this battle, right? He's the guy that ran all the way as far, ran all the way back to Athens, and was like, sorry guys, not going to happen. All right, so then he is at the Battle of Marathon, running with those guys, and after the battle, what does he do? Where do we get the name Marathon for our modern 25-plus mile marathon? What? He runs all 25 miles back, probably wounded, runs all the way back to Athens, and then he says to the people, we have won, and then he collapses and dies. Oh, what a way to die! Oh, what a glorious death. That's why we still talk about him today. I mean, he probably wasn't naked. I don't know why they have him naked in this picture, but it's Greek ideals, right? He's probably dressed like this, and he was in his armor, and wounded and bloody, and then, okay, but still, that's fun. That's fun. And look at all the people. We've won! They're Marathon Men! Heroes! Oh, beautiful. So after the Battle of Marathon, the Persians, they're going to second-guess themselves a little bit. They're going to say, well, hold on, that didn't go well, and they're going to go back. They're going to go back to Persia. Meanwhile, in Athens, Themistocles will start to rise up and start to make a name for himself here outside of the battle arena. He's going to go and start talking to the assembly of Athens and tell them, we need to prepare, because Persia is not just going to take this. I mean, really, is this that big of a deal to Persia? They sent 25,000 guys. They got beaten. They're mad, but is that the end of their empire by any stretch? No, definitely not, okay? So they were like, well, we misjudged that one. Let's go back home. Let's resupply for a little while. Let's get angry again. Remember the Athenians. Remember the Athenians. And then go back even stronger next time, all right? So that's exactly what's going to happen. Themistocles knows it. Right? The battle was so incredibly traumatic for the Athenians that Themistocles is telling them, we've got to prepare for the future, but he won't tell them, let's prepare for a future invasion, because that would scare them too much. Instead, he says, let's prepare for the future for trade. Let's prepare for a future that protects our trade network across the Mediterranean and across the Aegean. We need to be ready. And so he'll tell them to build what? All right, triremes, very good. So is the Athenian strength in their hoplite military? No, that's more defensive, all right? So we need the hoplites, certainly, to defend Athens. But what we need to be able to fight against a foreign invader and to survive the next attack are triremes. Again, he's not going to tell them we're building them for war, but what are these really meant for? They're meant for war. I mean, this is incredible. These ships are the war machines of the day. All right? They are state-of-the-art. No one's using these yet, but they are super fast. They're super sleek as well, and they are maneuverable because we've got 170 oarsmen on 3 different levels that are going to be rowing. All right, and so that's pretty incredible. Plus, we've got some sail technology, and what's this meant for?
A battering.
That's a battering ram. So the goal of the trireme is to run into your enemy as fast as you can, and they're so quick and maneuverable that they can get away from their enemies and then go right back into them and nail them and destroy their ships. This is brilliant. He's going to convince the Athenians to build 200 of them. The only way they were able to finance this, because this was a huge military financing operation, the only way they'll be able to finance it is because they found a silver vein just in the nick of time, maybe a little intervention from above, I would argue. Right, so they're going to find a silver vein next to Athens, the only one in Greece. It was worth 100 talents, which at the time is an astronomical sum. And so this is going to put them on the path to greatness. But then if we jump back to Persia, Darius is going to die not long after the failed expedition into Greece, and now his son, Xerxes, the god king, is going to get ultra ticked with the Greeks as well. Here's a little bit about Xerxes.
The great Persian king Darius died in 486 BC, and his son Xerxes assumed his father's throne. Xerxes' first action was to vow vengeance for his father's defeat at the hands of the Athenians.
On my father's behalf, and on behalf of all my subjects, I will not rest until I have taken Athens and burnt it to the ground.
As an imperial power, the Persians cannot allow small regional states like this to beat them with impunity.
Xerxes began to gather his forces. He conscripted troops from every corner of his empire. Arabians, Egyptians, Phoenicians, as well as Persians. Rumors began to leak back to Athens that Xerxes' army numbered to nearly 2 million men, that it was the greatest force the world had ever seen, that soon it would be ready to march. And then finally, in the spring of 480 BC, news reached Athens. The Persian army had set out for Greece. History records that Xerxes' troops drank rivers dry. trampled fields to the raw earth, ravaging the land as they marched on towards Greece. Xerxes was confident of victory.
We shall so extend the empire of Persia that its boundaries will be God's own sky, so that the sun will not look on any land that is not ours.
When the Greeks realized that the Persians were invading again, terror gripped the whole country. For the Athenians, who knew that they would be Xerxes' first target, it seemed that this could only be the end. As panic gripped the city, they turned desperately to their gods. They sent a messenger to the oracle to find out their fate. Here, high in the Greek mountains, can still be found the site of Delphi, the most famous of the Greek oracles. Built around a vast chasm in the mountain from which a sacred spring still flows. Here the Greeks would come to discover their future. They would ask questions of the Pythia, the mysterious priestess who spoke with the voice of the god Apollo.
People came from all over the Greek world to consult Delphi, and sometimes came from outside the Greek world as well. It was considered to be the centre of the universe. The omphalos, the navel stone of the whole world, was at Delphi. People asked questions about their private life, which are just the sorts of questions people want answers to now.
Archaeologists have discovered copies of the questions asked of these ancient oracles.
Has Aristos stolen the wool from the mattress?
Hermione asks, "What should I do to have useful children?" But as the Athenians walked up this path 2,500 years ago, their question was simple and grave. What could they do to save themselves? The oracle's response could not have been more negative.
Why sit you, doomed ones? Fly to the ends of the earth. All is ruin, for fire and the headlong god of war shall bring you low.
When this message came back to Athens, the Democratic Assembly dissolved into uproar. It seemed that even the gods had deserted them.
All right, so that's not what the Athenians were hoping to hear. Not at all, right? And so, because of that, what would you do if you were the Athenians? What would you do? Okay, so some would fight, some would run away. The Athenians, unfortunately, are going to kowtow here to Xerxes as he comes over. And the only people that are going to stand up to him this time will be who? The Spartans. All right, so quick little background on Xerxes, by the way. Xerxes is quite the jerk face. Okay, so he had apparently a very lovely wife. You know, he's the king of the biggest empire in the world. So he had a lovely wife, and he decided at his palace at Susa to have a week-long orgy with he and his aristocratic friends, and at one point he asked his wife to come and join them, and she, good thing, refused. Smart, right? Good woman. Refused. But he was so angry about that he sent her away, sent her packing, and then called to his satrapies from all around the empire to send him their most beautiful girl. And so they all sent him, and he had several months where every night there was a different girl until he found the one. What a jerk, right? This guy's evil incarnate, and he claims he is the God King of the Persian Empire. Claims he's the God King of the world. And so, here's his plan. His strategy is he's going to take an army to cross the Hellespont. You guys remember the Hellespont? Remember that? Good. So, that little area that's kind of connecting Asia Minor to Europe, and Greece in particular here. So he's going to cross the Hellespont with how big of an army, if we believe the ancient sources, which are probably lying anyway? 2 million and they would drink rivers dry, and they would burn, rape, and pillage everywhere they went. All right, so this is scary to anyone who's sitting in Greece, certainly. But there's kind of a funny story about it, too. The first time he tried to cross the Hellespont, they were going to bridge it with pontoons, all right, pontoon bridge. And so they bridged this thing, but a storm came and washed the pontoons away, so they had to rebuild it again. And Xerxes was so angry. Here you see him sitting on his throne that his little minions would carry. That's a big freaking throne for him to sit on as he's being carried around. All right, so they would be carrying him, and he stood there and he commanded that they whip the Hellespont. They had to whip it with chains and whips to show the Hellespont who's the real god king here. What an idiot! All right, so that's part one of his plan. Part two is go down south into Greece and tell the Greeks what's going to be happening here. All right, so King Leonidas, though, he's not going to like it. King Leonidas is going to receive an emissary from the Persians that are saying, give us earth and water. By the way, here are the heads of all of these kings that we've conquered before. The Athenians are kowtowing to us at this point because they don't want to get burned, raped, and pillaged. And so King Leonidas is going to say, well, hold on a second. I'm going to go talk to the Oracle of Delphi as well. He's going to first tell the emissary to get out of there, go packing. And then he's going to go talk to the Oracle. So the oracle told him, for you inhabitants of wide-wayed Sparta, either your great and glorious city must be wasted by Persian men, or if not that, then the bound of Lacedaemon must mourn a dead king from Heracles' line. The might of bulls or lions will not restrain him with opposing strength, for he has the might of Zeus. I declare that he will not be restrained until he utterly tears apart one of these. Anyone know what that means?
You're going to have to die if you want Sparta.
Yeah, so either Sparta dies or you die, Leonidas. And that's exactly how we'll take it. The members of the Agora in Sparta will say, well, sorry, another bad moon. Oracle tells us not to. We're not going to allow you to go and fight. So Leonidas will say, that's fine. Me and my 8-pack of rippling abs and my 300 guys, we're going to go for a walk. We're going to go for a walk, and we're going to walk to Thermopylae. Yes, all right, so let's go ahead and see what that all looks like. Here's a fun little spot. This is why you want the 300 at Thermopylae.
My good king, the oracle has spoken.
The Ethos have spoken. There must be no march.
It is the law, my lord. The Spartan army must not go to war.
Nor shall it. I've issued no such orders. I'm here just taking a stroll, stretching my legs. These 300 men are my personal bodyguard. Our army will stay in Sparta.
Where will you go?
I hadn't really thought about it, but now that you ask, I suppose I'll head north.
The hot gates.
Move out! Move out!
What shall we do? What can we do?
What can you do? Sparta will need sons.
Spartan.
Oh, snap! We'll have to get back to that on Monday. Have a lovely